I sometimes wonder why I bother doing these videos, but I keep getting the visions of the children 200 years from now, and so kind of doing it for them. Um, by accident, because I was so sick, every time I ate, I was passing out, and I just couldn't function. And this is May 26, 2021. And it's got nothing to do with COVID or the pandemic or being in isolation. That doesn't bother me a bit. I've been doing it on and off for 40 years, so it's no big deal. But what I really want to talk about is that by finding this group, I discovered that there's a whole new group of genetic mutations happening, and they're allergic to aspirin. Well, that may not sound like it's such a big deal, but it is a big deal because the ingredient in aspirin that actually is natural in plants, long name salicylate, I'll type it out, is in okra, very high. And okra is the reason I'm alive, and it reversed my brain damage. So that was, first of all, very upsetting to me to discover that most everything that we need to sustain life found in plants, they can't eat. And the suffering to the children is just horrible. And I really wanted to be a part of the group because I thought that their diet might help me, but as it turned out, it doesn't. But I thought I could help them because they also have multiple chemical hypersensitivities, and nobody's lived as long as I have. We're talking over 70 years. 73, I'm 79, I'm going to be 80 soon, and I've been at this since I'm 6 years old. Everyone 37 years ago that had my disease in the United States that was helping me with my research, they all died, and I'm still here. Anyhow, I had to leave. The founder of the group is a wonderful woman, okay, totally wonderful. And they're on a diet called failsafe. But the members were so prejudiced and so negative towards an outsider that was not from their country, Australia, that they were very mean. And there was a woman that was choking, and she could die. And it turned out it was not. She was on the website in the group asking for help, and she'd been following a fail-safe diet. But it turned out she may have something else. Big long word. I'm just going to put Mast. I'll type it out. But this is a disease that is horrific, and a woman very angry, I'll just use her first name by the initial J, in Toronto, instead of giving real details that would benefit this woman, she was just furious, and she sent like a post to a 29-page scientific study by the University of Toronto. Well, hey, when you're sick and you're in pain and you're choking, guess what? You can't read that stuff. That's the first thing I did 37 years ago when I was dying after a doctor tried to murder me, was I just said, okay, I'm gifted. I can read science. I couldn't write. I lost my ability to write. But I still was gifted. I could read 1,000 pages of science, and my brain would throw me a picture, and I could edit it down into little words that anybody could understand with grade 8. In fact, even grade 5, because I had a 9-year-old boy who would read my my edit to page, and I'd ask him, is it easy to understand? And he helped me for 3 years. So my diet for disease control research is really simple. Anybody can follow it. But it's not fail-safe. I'll tell you that right now. But it has other issues with dust mites and bugs and all of the things that when our immune system collapses. I had become a bubble person, okay, and it will help in that sense. But anyway, I had to leave. They were just so miserable. But I posted something anyway, and the comments were really angry with me that I didn't post for Australia. Well, I'm in Canada, and Google didn't have Australia even registered. Well, no wonder. They don't want outsiders. They don't want anybody from any other part of the world talking to them. But that's not the founder's problem. She's a wonderful woman, wonderful. But, oh, what a bunch of prejudiced, negative bitches. Well, I got enough problems, so I removed myself from the group. But I do want to say that I found 2 more diseases that have all the symptoms of multiple chemical hypersensitivities, and every symptom that I have, only it's not my disease. I'm going to write those names. Now, the one with the big long word, that's really bad. They can get a skin biopsy. The rest of us, we can't even get a proper diagnosis. My Parkinsonism, you have to see a neurologist, and you have to make sure you're not in Canada because they're too dumb to know anything here. I got the name Parkinsonism disease by chemicals from a neurologist in New York City in 1989, and Mayo Clinic in Chicago has full details on that. And there's all kinds of help on how to live the way I live. But anyway, both my websites are still active, but one has tons of research, and when I die, it's going to disappear. So I put everything that's there on YouTube. That's why I do these videos. And I know that nobody's going to read it. I've got no followers, and I have 1 subscriber. God bless her. She's such a sweetheart. But 63, and she's suffering something terrible. And I even met, I met in person a man who was allergic to plastic. Can you imagine how somebody like that? I'm not, thank God. The fumes from cheap plastic, yeah. But hard plastic, no. I don't have a problem. He would just touch. See, this has got plastic in it. Everything's got plastic in it. He would just touch it, and it would like he was being electrocuted. The pain would just shoot right through him. Oh my God. I gave him my porcelain telephone. Well, while I was online with this group, there was a man made a comment. He's allergic to plastic. But I had to leave the group anyway. My life is too limited and too short to put up with these bitches. What an attitude. They don't want to help anybody else. They don't give a damn. I don't want to belong to a group that has so many members with that attitude. And I joined every group I could find. Google sent me a whole bunch, or actually Facebook sent me a whole bunch. I had a hard time getting Facebook to realize who and what I am and what I'm interested in. But finally, anyway, I've connected to about a dozen groups worldwide. Now, some of them I find them not very helpful because they're private. Well, I'm not private. I'm very out there. I'm very public because I want to be international. I want to help somebody in Romania. I want to help somebody in Ireland or Scotland or London, England. And because I was very successful in doing things that I'm finding these groups haven't even begun to do. And I already did that over like 30 years ago, with the help of getting media publicity, with the help of getting people to recognize that they were killing me. I got the dance group at Edith at the Legion way before smoking was banned in Ontario. She banned it at the Legion. Phoned me long distance where I lived at the time in Wasaga Beach and said, "Trudi, you can now come dancing." And she said, "If you have to wear your gas mask, that's okay too." But she said, "I banned perfume and everything. You should be okay. We've got very good air conditioning." And you know what? I was okay. I was able to start to dance there in 2002. So I had many good years. Despite my disease, the minute I'd go outside and get diesel fumes or whatever, I had to wear the gas mask. But I danced and I climbed mountains and I cross-country skied because Capriol would do their grooming very early in the morning and then call me and say, "Don't come today. We had to do more grooming this afternoon." Like, they protected me. All these people in this little town and a little town in St. Charles. I can't even speak French, and they were all French, but they were so nice to me. And they helped me find food that I could eat that wasn't full of poison and pesticides and garbage. I couldn't stay there. My mother, I'm not going to talk about her right now. That's a done deal. 18 years of my life and my research lost, and I could have been published a long time ago, but I couldn't abandon her, and I sacrificed myself again. And in so doing, self-sabotaged. Yeah. Oh well. I still have my Dan. Very rocky 37 years, but 12 years I didn't even speak to him because he went back out drinking. And he had had fits of rage. He comes from abuse. And he behaved like a 3-year-old in temper tantrums. But that didn't mean he wasn't a good person. So every time he took a jealous fit, I'd walk out on him. And when my mother was dying, one thing about Dan, he's a wonderful caretaker. He won't scream and curse at you when you're sick, only when you're well. Oh, God. Not funny, but, you know. But now he's 74, and he very rarely does that. So you know what? You're never too old to learn. Because he realized finally that screaming and cursing at me creates distress. And I want to talk just a little bit about stress and distress. Now, there are people who say you can't handle stress. Huh, are you kidding? I love it. It gets me to my feet. And if I get good and mad about something, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to fight and I'm going to wear my gas mask and I go from here to New York and back and I'm going to fight for gas masks for the military, which I did in 1990. And I fought in 1989 for better gas masks for the miners. Couldn't get any help in Canada, so I contacted the American United Steelworkers Union. That's right. I have a new Facebook friend, Lisa Stiles. She calls me a warrior, which is very funny because when I was 7 years old, my great-grandmother said that I was a throwback to our ancestors who were Vikings. And I was a warrior. And yeah, I am very blessed. Not everybody can do what I do. I know that. But distress, that's a whole different thing. When I worked in the stock market and real estate market and the pressure and the stress, oh, an adrenaline rush, and it was great. I loved it. It's like cross-country skiing down a cliff. Love it. Yeah, it's good for me. Not saying it's good for everybody, but it's great for me. And it triggers adrenaline, and I don't care what my disease is, boom, I'm okay to go. Doesn't mean I'm not going to crash for a few days afterwards, but by boy, while it's happening, I'm having a great time. But distress is different. Okay, I don't know about anybody else, but distress, if you attack me, I've been through horrendous, brutal torture, held hostage, anal raped, beaten. Neighbors hurt me, family knew, police knew, and I had witnesses. And not one person would lift a finger to help me. Now that does something to you, okay? That was in 1983. And I've been raped many times. And it never did me the harm. Not saying it was good. But I never was so sick to blame myself for what that other stupid pervert did to me. But what that beast did to me was worse because all those people saw it. And I was 5 months in his clutches. And I had to sell a house and buy my freedom. Don't get over that. I don't care. Don't talk to me with your stupid slogans. Move on and blah, 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 blah. No, I go into, if you start screaming at me and cursing at me, I go into post-traumatic stress syndrome. A Vietnam vet helped me with that, but I become suicidal. And I go into suicidal despair and I want to die. I really want to die. And don't think I haven't tried to kill myself a few times. Yes, I did. And by divine intervention, which I'm not going to talk about here, you want to know that story? Well, from the universe, I was lifted up and stopped from throwing myself over a cliff. Yes, true story. And I have been rescued by the dead. There is another dimension. And that's all in my autobiography. But anyway, I just want to say here, I just feel so bad. Getting back to that one with the skin disease, they get an enlarged liver, they have spleen damage. It only shows as hives. The initial symptoms are hives and a rash, and then they start to have trouble swallowing and choke. And they're being treated as if it's an allergy. But they need a skin biopsy. Well, at least there is a skin biopsy that will confirm what it is or what it isn't. So if you have an unusual rash, I really recommend you get a skin biopsy. My rashes, the skin biopsies didn't show anything. But my rashes were not being caused by this disease. You see, it's a completely different thing. When I get a rash, it's from a dye, particularly from India. Oh, those dyes are terrible. And some of them in the Middle East, and you could smell it. Well, I didn't know that. You know, I'm talking about my younger days. And soap. I had eczema all over my body, and I was bleeding. My hair was bleeding. I haven't washed my hair in over a year. I just brush it because that's a whole other issue. I won't get into that, but got a problem here in this apartment. And the chlorine in the water makes me so sick that I can't wash my hair. Anyhow, it looks like an allergy, looks like a skin disease, but it isn't. It's much worse than that. It has something to do with overproduction of mast cells in your bone marrow. Anyway, I can't cover all these diseases, but these are two new diseases I'd never heard of. And the skin disease is not genetic. That means they've been poisoned. And of course, they're saying causes unknown. Yeah, right. They say cancer causes unknown, and that's bull. But the skin disease people have to follow the same diet as me, and they can be helped with okra. That's the first thing I wanted to say about it. And the one on the failsafe, I don't know. But from what I saw in that Australian group, children, hundreds and hundreds of children are being born with it. So it has to do with being poisoned by the parents, and they're passing a genetic to the children. Very sad, very sad. And the allergy to aspirin, you have to find a way to pump up your immune system. And I do think that the coated garlic pills might help them, but I don't know. I really don't know. Somebody with the disease needs to open up, unlike the Australian members, and make it international and help everybody, which is what I was hoping to do, get them to do. But I gotta tell you, they were so prejudiced, it was almost like racism, except they were racist against anybody that wasn't from Australia. God, what an attitude. I'm just glad that I was blessed with the attitude that I am a canary, I am the future, and despite the suffering, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to use what I have to help others not go through what I went through. So, anyway, I ate sardines last night, passed out. God, I thought I was over with that, but I'm still having real problems with protein, which means I eat too much carbs, and I've got 6 inches on my stomach, and I can't get into half of my beautiful clothes. I'm such a fashionista, but anyway, I'm making new clothes. I'm in a shutdown for the next 5 years anyway, so I like looking pretty. But I'm grateful that through one group in South America, Kay Black, she's wonderful. She opens up conversation to everybody worldwide. And she's also psychic, and she's helping people identify with her psychic abilities. I used to save a lot of lives with my psychic abilities, but I got a tumor that did nerve damage that kind of took that away, and I don't miss it because I was getting too many visions and people that I couldn't help. So I'm quite comfortable where I'm at now. I'm in a very toxic area, in a very toxic building, and my bedroom is sealed off like a drum. But people are so much worse off than I am. I am so blessed. So just want to say thank you, Kay. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Sue. You're a special person, Sue. And I hope someday you get your group to open up, because there's people all over the world that could be helped. So God bless, and do the best you can, one day at a time, hour by hour. And if I only get 10 minutes outside on the swings and can walk for 15 minutes, you want to know something? I feel great. I'm happy with that. So many healthy people don't want to wear a mask, don't want to do this, da 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 da, worshiping Trump. Those tax laws in the United States are despicable. They've put people back to the age 100 years ago. Abject poverty, 40 million people losing their homes, and nobody cares. And do you know that their largest billionaire companies, like Amazon, pay zero taxes? Well, I have a lot to bitch about in Canada, but at least we don't do that. We're not great. Health Canada is corrupt. But Americans, you need to revolt. You're the masses. You're talking about, less than 1% of your population, and they have made windfall profits. Oh well, I'm getting sidetracked. Never mind. God bless. Love you all. Over and out.